Hi, this is Brian, Pause 21. How are you guys doing out there? I just want to share some thoughts. Maybe I'll call it mind doodling. Just things I've been thinking about. I always want to remind people that I'm not a preacher, I'm not an evangelist. I just don't believe that that's what I've been called to, or am I qualified to. But I do have some thoughts, and I do spend a lot of time thinking about the world, about my faith, and I love to ponder the mystery of God. Well, we all got to stand someplace to have any kind of response to an idea, to a thought, to a philosophy. You got to stand on something. Well, here's just a painting I had done. Um, this is a symbol. Notice the stake there. That's academia, college. Some colleges, professors teach that there is no truth. Everything's relative. Just sort of saying you can't stand on anything. But a lot of professors have huge influence on our young people, and many go into universities as believers and they leave totally persuaded by the professor or professors that Christianity is not true. Now, others are very legalistic, and we base our where we stand on the law. America is a country that runs efficiently based on the law. But what happens when the Supreme Court makes a decision that abortion is okay? Well, now the question is, whose law supersedes whose? God's law about life and death, or the Supreme Court? Then, of course, we have young people, the millennials. We get so much information, or you guys do. I'm an old man. I do some, but from the internet, millions of opinions out there, and we latch on to one, and we put our stake on that idea. Now, I'm a Christian. I've got my stake in the cross, in the work of Jesus Christ, in the person of Jesus Christ. When he claimed us and made a way for us to be saved, he shook the whole world. Now, you may not have observed it, but I guarantee you Satan did, because he's trying to run this world, and God really shook things up. You know the story about how Satan took Jesus to the desert and tempted him and took him up to the top of a cliff and told him, hey, if you worship me, I'll give you the whole world. You can run the whole thing. And Jesus pretty much slammed Satan. Well, this is what I'm going to end with. Here's another picture I had done. This is a artist's view of Mount Sinai. Remember when the Israelis, or the Jewish people, traveled through the desert? They come to Mount Sinai, and God gives them the law, the Ten Commandments. That day, or those weeks, Then Moses was up in the mountain. There was fire in the mountains, clouds. And then, of course, earlier on, Moses was frustrated because the people kept saying, "We don't want to listen to you, Moses. We want to hear directly from God." And God began to speak, and the voice of the holy God was unbearable. And then the people began to beg, "Please, Moses, ask God not to speak." They were holding their ears, they were hiding. Of course, that's what happens. The mountains shook, the fire, and somehow they decided they weren't going to wait for Moses anymore when he was getting the Ten Commandments, and they built the golden calf. We know the story. Well, here we are. Now we wear suits. And the smartest people in the world are symbolically climbing Mount Sinai and rewriting the law. Okay? Not just the Ten Commandments, but the law of nature. They're shaking this whole order. Call it the New Order. Now, if God doesn't exist, this is really no problem. Then the whole story of God speaking and his voice just shaking the earth. Just myth. Ten Commandments, just a myth. Then, I suppose even the idea of needing to stand on something isn't that important. Stand on whatever you want to stand. But what if? And it's that if that's tied to faith. Because we can't absolutely prove God's existence. I believe it, but I've had doubts. And I put my stake down. I'm going with Jesus. Who else am I going to go with? Our presidents that are all fallible? Some of the greatest presidents we have, now we're tearing down their statues. Where are we going to put the stake down? And televangelists that are out there trying to convince the poor that if you give them money, God's going to heal them. Study it. Open your eyes. Yes, God can heal, but it's all about the money. It's all about the money. As these TV evangelists fly around in their corporate jets. If I were president, one of the first things I would do is I would limit tax charitable deductions at a certain level so these charlatans could not prosper off the poor. Hey, this isn't something new. It's been around a long time. So there you have it. These are just some ramblings of an old man. Sometimes I'll refer to it as the doodling in my mind. Mount Sinai. I believe it's going to shake someday. And we're going to hide once again. We're going to hear his voice. And we're going to ask ourselves, what have we done? I believe in Jesus. Trust in him. He's our only hope. God bless.